when I graduated from high school in '57, I went to work at Northwestern University and worked there until 1959. Then I went into construction, and that's where I met a lot of pushback. I was the only black in the crew. I was the office boy at the time, and all the guys picked on me a lot. Well, I grew up knowing about discrimination and everything and how you get treated. In 1961, the owner of the company told the guy that was in charge of the yard, said, "I want to make Alec a foreman." And the guy said, "Well, who's going to work for him?" Nobody going to work for him, being a foreman. And the owner, his name was Kirk Becker, he said, if they work here, they'll work for him. Now, in my mind's eye, looking back, that was favor. That was favor from God, that he saw enough in me in 1961 or 62, that he wanted to give me an opportunity to advance myself in the company. And that was the business that I worked in for 46 years and 6 months. He died at 53 with cancer. And then his wife ran the company. She sold the company. But early on with Kirk Becker, in that situation, now I got a lot of pushback for guys that they would bring in the yard and they wouldn't work for me. They would send a list down to me, the field for the site. And some of the guys, if they got the list first, they wouldn't give it to me. Okay? And so then I'd have to go to the boss and, hey, what happened to the list? This guy's out there. He's trying to fill it, and it should have come to me. And those kind of things happen, But then that didn't last too long because the owner of the company found out about it, and he put a stop to that. And also, I'd have people later on come in the office and walk right by me, and go to the white guy in the office there, and he'd have to say, "If you want to get help, you got to go back up and see him," And they'd have to come back and see me anyway. But still, it was just amazing how often that happened, that because of my nationality or my complexion, I couldn't be in charge. You know what I'm saying? And so those kind of things happened. But it always gave me gratitude when they'd have to come back to me and see me. So in my work world, that was the early part of my work years. When I started to hire truck drivers and hire my own yard foremen, once I got into the office, I hired a lot of the guys from neighborhood. Well, all of my guys I hired at the time was black, because a lot of them was in minimum wage jobs. I hired them and got them in the 731 Truck Drivers Union. And one day, Dick Lowe, whom I still have communication with, he lived in Florida, he came down and said, "Alex, I don't ever see you hire any white guys." I said, "Well, Dick, when I come through that shop, I never see any black welders or mechanics, just all white guys." He says, "I rest my case." But anyway, I hired these guys and got them good paying jobs. They were making real good money. But then one day they marched on my office. They said I was an Uncle Tom. They wanted to know whose behind was I that I had a position such as that. And, I always felt that I treated everybody fair, and I know I did, but I had a responsibility. The way the situation worked was, if you're a superintendent, you go with the engineer, you get the paper to outline on the job, a starting date, how many holes you projected to get a day, and the ending date. And he would make out a list of what he needed and drop it on my desk. And he'd get his pickup truck and go. Now, it's my responsibility to make sure that he has everything on that job when he needs it, so he can go to work. And so this is what I explained to those guys. I'm in charge, but that job is depending on me supplying it with everything it needs. And so I need people that's going to support me, that I can depend on to get this equipment to these men. And that's why I'm in this position, because the man that owned the company had enough confidence to put me in this position. So now you're either going to produce or you got to go. And as far as me kissing anybody's behind, I'm not kissing it. I'm just doing what the man hired me to do. And I'm always the first to come and the last to leave every day. but it just shows me, and it show anybody how, these guys sometimes was against me because of my position, and they was black just like me. But because I had the authority, there was a jealousy, and I always say the enemy is always busy. There was a jealousy of me because of my position. And so it had nothing to do with my color. It had something, well, in a sense it did. You're the same as us. You're a soul brother. So you need to give us some favor. Well, I gave you some favor when I hired you. I gave you favor. And so I ran into that situation. And down the line, you run into a lot of those kind of situations.